Hello, guys. It's me, Butterfly Spirit 314. So, guys, it's been a few days. And on Wednesday, the 17th, about 3 days ago, I was in my fourth pole dancing class. And what my goal is to take 8 pole dancing classes, so 8 intro to pole classes. And once I take those classes, I will be able to graduate to my level 1 level of pole dancing classes. And once I get to level 1, I'm going to be able to I'm going to be able to advance myself in pole dancing. What I feel like is that so I have been doing pole dancing for over a year. And what I can say is that it'll be going on 2 years soon. But what I can say is that I didn't really feel like I was making the kind of progress I wanted to make in pole dancing. And now I kind of feel like I am making more progress and stuff. And I'm kind of seeing myself like do more of it. And so I'm just kind of following through with it now and stuff. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my class on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, I might be a little fuzzy because it's 3 days ago, but it's okay. So on Wednesday, in my pole dancing class, I had a new teacher. So this is a teacher I've never been taught by before. And when I came to the pole studio, I had no idea. Like, I thought one lady was my teacher, but it turns out she wasn't the teacher. It was somebody else that was the teacher. And it showed up a bit later. So I was just like, oh, okay. So, I think that the confusion kind of happened because there was one teacher wrapping up, and then there was another teacher. Like, I didn't really know who it was, and I was kind of eager to know who my teacher was, and who I can learn from and stuff. So, and I kind of felt this, like, me and the other students, like, we were all like standing there and we were just like wanting to, like, we were wanting to, like, get into pole. It's like I felt this like energy of like everybody wanting to, like, get in and learn pole. We were all like had this energy that kind of merged together. Like, we were all kind of wanting to, like, get in and, like, freaking, and learn. Like, we were all wanting to kind of do that and stuff. So, um, yeah. So what I will say, guys, is that I did see the girl from one of my classes before. So one of my pole buddies, I saw her and stuff, and it was pretty cool seeing. It was two girls that oh no, three girls. There are three girls that have been in my pole dancing classes before. And It was nice seeing them again. It was really fun, like, seeing, like, some familiar faces in my class. There were other people I didn't really know, but that was okay. So in my class, I got to learn a new version of a pole dance move that I did not know existed. So, one move that I learned in pole dancing. So I'm familiar with doing a fireman spin. So that's basically where you spin around the pole, basically down to the floor, and you do it like a fireman, like, how, like, a fireman, and, like, they go down the pole like in a firehouse. It's kind of like that. So that's kind of the idea of a fireman spin. That's where it comes from. So um so I'm used to doing fireman spins. In fact, in the class prior, I had did fireman spins, and it was easy and effortless and everything. Okay, very easy, very effortless. So after, like, because I, like, know firemans, I was like, and the teacher was like, okay, I'm gonna teach you guys how to do a fireman. I'm like, yeah, but I already know how to do a fireman. I already know. Like, but I still watched the teacher anyway. So when I watched the teacher, I paid attention to the fact of what the teacher was doing. So I paid attention to her version of doing a fireman spin, or what we call a classic spin. And so I was able to, I decided to take on, and do a fireman like she did, which was different than the way I've been doing a fireman. And so I decided to listen, to watch her and listen to her like other students. And I learned how to do a fireman spin in a different way. And I was able to get it. So yes, I'm still, spinning, around the pole and down the pole, still doing that, but I'm doing it in a different way with a different technique. And I'm still finding myself sliding down the pole. So I'm still doing that, essentially spinning around the pole and down. So I'm still doing that. But I learned a new way to do a fireman. And I see why it's important to have a couple different versions of the same pole move, because sometimes you're going to need to use them, especially if you're going to be wearing heels. It's going to make a difference. Because when you do pole dance moves in heels versus no heels, it makes a huge ass difference. In fact, I'm going to be making a video after this one about my introduction to pole class. Introduction to heels class, or introduction to heels technique class that I took last night. So I'll be talking a little bit about that class for you guys and stuff. In fact, I recorded myself. I haven't even watched all the videos. I watched one video of myself last night, but I haven't watched the other videos yet. So let's see. So I learned to do the fireman in a new way, which is awesome. And then my teacher said, okay, well, hey, I want to show you a couple of different ways we can kind of, change the fireman to, so you can have a couple different, ways, you can kind of add something different to it. So I was like, okay. So my teacher she taught us how to do a one-handed fireman spin. And I was like, well, how the hell are you supposed to do that? I'm used to doing a fireman spin with two hands. Like, well, how am I going to do that? What? Two arms. Like, what? And so I watched the teacher. And one thing I love about the teacher was that I love the fact that my teacher, she actually did the moves with us as she was demonstrating. So I found that to be super cool. So when I was watching the teacher do the one-handed fireman, at first I watched her, but I was kind of confused. I was like, can I do that? Is there a way I can do that? And I wasn't sure until, I did it with her. And I like that she did the moves with us, because what I love about her like doing the moves with us is that we can watch, we can do it together. Like it feels good to do moves together with a teacher rather than like they do it and then you do it, because you can, see how to do it. And I love how my teacher, like when she was demonstrating like the one-handed fireman, like I love how like she was willing to like answer questions and slow it down a bit and stuff, and things. And I love that, and I'm like, this is cool, because my other teachers, there are teachers that I have, but they don't like do it with us. So this particular teacher doing it with us was like majorly cool, it was majorly cool. In my pole experience, I do have another pole teacher where she did it with us, but it kind of wasn't the same way. Like it didn't have the same kind of energy, So, and when I say, I mean like, I think that a teacher doing a pole move with us it makes the pole move less scary. And it allows, me and the other students like to know that we're not doing it alone, and to get a chance, it's like we're all in like a synergy. It's kind of fun to like us all get a chance to like, do a move together and see the teacher do it and stuff. It just takes it makes it more, less scary. and it allows us to like understand the move a lot better. So I so what I did is I got to try out the one-handed fireman, and I think I did a really good job at doing it. Because the first time I was like second guessing myself, and then all of a sudden I just like did it, and I was like, dang, I did that. And I did record myself, so I did post myself doing a one-handed fireman on my channel, Butterfly Spirit 314. So I did. I kind of feel like after a while I was kind of showing off a little bit, which, hey, ain't no harm in showing off. You know what I'm saying? When you know something, ain't no harm in doing it, especially if you're having fun, and then especially like if it's allowing you to grow. So that was fun. There is another version of the fireman a teacher did, and she was like very graceful with it. I tried doing that, but I don't think it turned out the same way. But I love that I have like 3 different ways to do a fireman. And I love that right now that I have like 3 different ways. And that's pretty cool to me. Like that I have different versions of a move, that I can use, of a spin that I can use. And I think that that's really cool because it's like gives me something to kind of pull from, which is cool. Let's see. After that, I learned what's called the stag. So learning that, I think some people call it a fairy, I think, and some people call it a stag, and stuff. So I learned how to do that. I did record myself doing that. For this stag, I don't feel like I did it as well as I wanted to, but because I mean, I feel like I want to work on that stag. I want to work on it a little bit more, and then I think it'll be better. But maybe it's okay. I'm just like second guessing myself. I don't know, but I think it was okay. But I like to practice it more to get better with it. Personally, I would like to do it, but I think it was okay. But I learned to do the stag and everything, and it was fun. And if you guys want to watch me doing the stag, you can see it on my channel, Butterfly Spirit 314. You can see it. I recently posted it. It was dated the September 17th. Yeah. So, and lastly, what we worked on is climbing. Now, I forgot we did the step around. I forgot we did that at the beginning of class, which did fine with. But let's go back to climbing. So before the class ended, the teacher wanted us to practice climbing. And I got to say, I love that because here's why. Because at the other studio that I go to, I always feel like I'm that person who's stuck on the ground. Like I don't feel like I can climb. There are other girls who can climb, but I don't know how to climb. And so I always kind of thought like, oh man, I'm always going to be the person on the floor. Like always, I'm not going to be like able to climb up on a pole. But because I've, got a chance to practice climbing, I think I'm getting better with it. So I've been taught how to climb about 3 different times from 3 different teachers. And I'm getting better. So in this previous class on the 17th, the teacher said, okay, before we end, I want us to practice climbing. And she talked about why, climbing would be good, because one of the good things about climbing is that if we want to volunteer, so they have a pole dancing show that they do. I think they'll be doing it next week. So what they're going to do next weekend is they'll be having a pole dance show. And it's going to be a show where a lot of different pole dancers come and they do pole dance performances. And the pole dance performances that they do, basically, they put on this show. And the reason they do it is they're doing it and they're donating the proceeds to, there is a charity that helps people who have gone through, I want to say that people have gone through sexual abuse. And so they donate to a charity that helps people that are survivors of that, no matter what their age. And I really think that's really a nice cause for them to donate to and stuff. So all the proceeds will go to that charity, and that in turn helps people. And the reason the teacher was talking about it, because if we learn how to climb, we can volunteer at that show. And if we volunteer at the show, then what happens is that some people can become what's called pole kittens. So a pole kitten is basically somebody who helps out at the pole dance show, and they are able to climb on the pole to clean it in between the pole dance acts, between the different like pole dancers and stuff. And I want to become a pole kitten because I think it would be really fun to be a pole kitten, because that means I'll be able to climb really well and stuff. And also I'll be able to help out for a good cause. And I think that would be really fun. So one day I hope to be a pole kitten. So my teacher, she told me that her name was Sarah. She told me that I'm close to climbing. So I posted a 30-second clip of myself climbing, but I'm not there yet. I'm getting close. And most people might think climbing a pole, like, how the hell do you do that? I've been shown how to climb more than 3 times, but I feel like in these 3 instances, I've kind of gotten better and better and better at climbing and stuff. And I just feel like when it comes to climbing, I feel like, you know, it doesn't come easy. Like, and I think in one of my classes that I had, like, there's some girls who already know how to climb, and some girls who just like went up the pole. Like in my second class, like for them it was like that. But for me, it just isn't. But my teacher did say, she did say, I'm getting closer. She said, well, you're getting close to climbing, so you're almost there and stuff. And hopefully, so I have a pole dance class um, on actually tomorrow. So I'm hoping that I'll finally be able to climb the pole and stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to climb and stuff and everything as a pole dancer. So hopefully I'll be able to get up there and climb. I'll record myself when I'm able to climb so you guys could see me climb better than what I did in my little short video, because I was trying, but yeah, I still got a little ways to go. But I will definitely continue and stuff too. I have a class in October on the 5th that I'm going to be going to as well, and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm on a wait list for a class for September 24th. So hopefully I can get into that. That would be really cool if I could. But I think the more I do like pole, the better. But yeah, climbing, oh, I haven't landed it yet, but I'm starting to understand more. But I think eventually I'll be able to climb the pole, and I'll be good. Eventually. Eventually. All right, everyone. So that's everything that I wanted to talk about with respect to the pole. Now, I will tell you guys, when it comes to climbing, I will share this. When it comes to climbing, it's really about using the arms and using the legs to climb. Okay. But when I talk about arms, it's really about using the lats and the back to help climb, not really the biceps, to climb. And then it's also about the legs, because the legs have to go up the pole in order to for you to get up there. So it's, climbing up the pole is definitely something that I would say takes some getting used to. One thing I did understand now is that the same position where I'd have my feet for the fireman at the end of it, um, well, doing the fireman is the same way that I'm going to use to climb the pole. And so now I'm like, oh, okay, because I have to keep the pole, like, I think pretty much like at my I have to keep it between my legs, like in my ankles and stuff, in order to like climb up and stuff. So, and use my knees. So it's hard to describe, but I'm starting to get it, and eventually I'll get there. But when I was climbing, I was totally like, am I doing this right? And I needed a teacher to help me and stuff. But I think, like she said, eventually I'll get it. And I mean, that was my 4th class. So, I mean, eventually I'm going to be climbing. I'm going to be up that pole. Like, I'll be up that pole. And the amazing thing is that, too, like, I've definitely built an affinity towards the poles at this studio, like this new studio that I've been going to. And because before, when I was doing, like, when I was like doing stuff on their poles, like, it wasn't easy, but now I'm just like, I've kind of built a trust with the poles that they have. And I'm like, yay, because I'm used to the pole at the other studio I go to. And I'm so used to that one. But I'm learning that I can make friends with other poles and trust other poles and stuff. So yeah, that was my experience on September 17th. I can't remember I remembered all this stuff because I thought I was going to forget about it. But anyway, that's pretty much all. Thank you all for tuning in and watching this whenever you get a chance. I appreciate you. Bye for now.